Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jimmy, and I am with Jimmy's Journey, and we have a lot of stuff on the YouTube, on the website, etc. But guess what we're adding, and that is a fantasy baseball channel. Oh, I'm super excited about this. Why am I super excited about this? Because fantasy baseball. Come on, man. I love fantasy baseball. I have been playing fantasy baseball since 2009, back when I was 12 years old. Me and my friends, we started a league back in Cashton, Wisconsin. Shout out Cashton, Wisconsin. And everybody that has been in the league ever since day one, that would be me and Spencer and Brandon. Dylan, pretty much for the most part, has been in the league ever since day one as well. And there's a couple others that have been in here for years. We've been in the same 10-team league for years, over a decade of fantasy baseball. So that is an accomplishment in and of itself. It's absolutely bloody fantastic, and I'm super excited for this year. Oh, I got some new ideas for my strategy and my draft and everything, and can't wait. But anyways, I've been playing fantasy baseball ever since '09. Like I said, I've been very successful in my league, pretty much always in the playoffs, if you know what I mean, because I just love playing. It's fun for me. I like checking stats, I like numbers, I like all that kind of stuff. And so fantasy baseball is right up my alley. I'm a huge Brewers fan. Yeah, represent Milwaukee, Jabari Parker, baby. Represent. Okay. I will show you a little recap of the league last year that we had, what we got going on this year. But I'm gonna be sharing some tips, some tricks, some tutorials, not tutorials, but just basic fantasy baseball knowledge. If you want to learn more about fantasy baseball, if you are trying to win your league, let's do it the smart way and let's win together. Okay, I'm gonna be sharing my strategy, my draft strategy. It's just gonna be a ton of fun. I'm super excited to be doing this with you guys. I don't see a lot of stuff out there for fantasy baseball people, so I wanna get some information out, some knowledge out, and show you guys just how simple, and it's not really that time consuming, depending how much you enjoy doing it just for the heck of it, and how much fun it is. If you like baseball, if you like numbers, if it'll change the way you watch the league. It'll add excitement to baseball. Baseball is known for being boring. Fantasy baseball makes it not boring. In fact, I don't even watch the games anymore. I used to diligently watch games. I obviously don't. I mean, how can you in this society? No time for baseball watching, but I got time for fantasy baseball. So I actually play fantasy baseball, but I do not watch baseball, except for little highlights here and there. But it's super, super mega fun. I love it. And that's a little about me. I'm a huge Brewers fan. Go Brewers. They sucked last year in the playoffs. That was pretty embarrassing. But it's all good because I came in second place in my league, and I'm going to try and go for the first place crown with all of you this year. I can't wait. Follow, subscribe. We're going to be updating. We're going to be making videos. We're going to be doing a draft. We're going to be doing weekly matchups, trades, everything. So stay up to date. And let's win our fantasy baseball leagues this year. I will be here to answer any questions, any advice you need about a player and my strategy. It's all going to be pretty basic, pretty simple, and we are going to win. We're going to win. All right. So this is our team last year. This is our league. So this is how we got it set up. It's a 10-team league. Here was the final standings. As you can see, I won in the regular season, but I lost in the playoffs. Second place. I got second place. I am top fives. That was my team logo and name and everything. That is a reference to the late Fives, Clone Trooper, ARC Trooper 5s. If you're a fan of the Clone Wars, Star Wars, you'll get the reference, and that was cool. But man, I had a fantastic regular season. Let me just show you guys what happened in the regular season. My word. This was one of the craziest regular seasons I've ever had. Check this out. So we'll go to top fives. This is my regular season. So matchup 1, I lost 1-8. Yikes. 5-5, 5-5, 7-3, but then 2-8, 4-5. At this point in the season, I was like, This is not good. I'm down in the standings May 10th. Check out May 17th. I started a 10-0 win against Spencer, and win. A lot of these matches were not even close. The 10-0, the 9-1, the 7-3s, the 9-1, the 8-1, the 8-2. My word. Finally lost in August. I went between May through August without a loss, took a loss, and then I won big time in my final regular season matchup. I won decidedly in my first playoff round and barely lost. And when I say I barely lost, I mean I barely lost because of a technicality in the rules. Because you can start, we had a start limit for our league, but on that last day, if you start as many pitches as you want, it can't stop you, basically. And because of that technicality, he beat me in one little category, one pitching category, I think it was. It kills me. It kills me. It absolutely kills me. But it was such a close matchup. But, shout out to Brady. Brady's always been my main competition in this league. He is a fantastic manager. He understands fantasy baseball very well. And it's pretty cool. So, shout out to him. Let us check my final team. Okay, this team was a juggernaut. I should not have lost anything because the team that I assembled throughout the course of the year was absolutely ridiculous. Okay, I had Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I drafted in the 5th round. He was my best pick, definitely. He was fantastic, but I traded him around the All-Star break for Pete Alonso and one Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler turned into the second-rated best pitcher throughout the year with me. I mean, look at these starts that he gave me. 2-1-0, 1-1-1, 2-0-2, 6-2, 3-5. Ended pretty badly, but, well, his last two starts were fantastic. But Walker Buehler was the second best pitcher in fantasy baseball last year. So there you have it. I traded, and Pete Alonso went on a power surge after I traded for him. So he ended up with 37 homers, 94 RBIs. That's how you win leagues, folks. You trade Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I got the best 3 months out of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. that he had last year. I got the majority of his production, and then I replaced it basically. Pete Alonso was neck and neck with him the rest of the way. And then I got an absolutely elite starting pitcher, and that was good for me because I had Shane Bieber, and my second best pitcher was Jack Flaherty, who both went down about the same time in the year. So there you have it. I lost a lot of starts during that time. So that Walker Buehler was a huge pick me up. Luis Castillo was horrible to start the year. He finished very great, and so this is the rundown of my team. Although I made another trade to get Starling Marte. Oh, Starling Marte won me all those good games. Starling Marte was an absolute monster for me last year. I dropped him in the very, very end of the season because I didn't need his steals to try and squeak out a win in that final matchup. But for all intents and purposes, I had Starling Marte on this team. I think a couple other players too, but I'm not entirely sure. Let's just check real quick. Yeah, my team was an absolute juggernaut. Gary Sanchez, I dropped him. But yeah, and then pitching wise, I know I dropped a few pitchers. I had Carlos Carrasco on my team the whole year. That was kind of a waste. Definitely a huge waste, actually. Looks like they did not get picked up. Oh, yeah, there we go. Aaron Nola, Sonny Gray. Yeah, so these are my 4th and 5th and 6th best pitchers. I mean, look at the name brand pitchers that I acquired throughout the year. These are all through trades. I did not draft this team. These are all through trades. The only people I drafted was Brandon Lowe, Carlos Correa. I picked him up right after the draft, so you can consider Wander Franco a draft pick. Yordan Alvarez, I drafted him accidentally, but turned into an amazing pick. Did not draft any of these guys. Drafted Christian Yelich, traded him for Stanton. That turned out to be a huge trade because Stanton went on a power surge while Yelich just was horrible the whole year. Drafted Bieber, Castillo, Chapman. Did not draft any of these guys. Drafted Jack Flaherty. Did not draft any of these guys. Okay, so all these guys I got through trades, okay? The Bryce Harper one, I traded Carlos Rodon, picked him up, got his no-hitter, got half of dominant season for Carlos Rodon, traded him for Bryce Harper. That turned into an amazing pick because Harper went on to win MVP. Carlos Rodon missed a bunch of starts, although he was very good in the starts that he did pitch. He just didn't pitch a lot in the second half of the year. I made some trades. I traded Lourdes Gurriel for Joey Gallo. Ended up trading Joey Gallo for one Sonny Gray. Gray was decent, not great. Aaron Nola, very inconsistent, but high strikeouts. Garrett Cole, I got him for trading Ronald Acuna. I guess the guy that dropped him forgot that this is a keeper league. You get to keep 4 players, and he dropped Ronald Acuna, and so I picked him up and then flipped him for Garrett Cole for a pitch, basically a pick or a player for next year, Ronald Acuna, for Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole was absolutely horrible, did not get me what I needed, and failed to help me in the playoffs, so that did not work out. But other than that, yeah, man, it was bloody fantastic. I mean, this team is a juggernaut. It's an absolute shame we can only keep 4 players going into this year. So these are the 4 that I'm picking: is Wander Franco, Kyle Tucker, Bryce Harper, and Garrett Cole. We can talk about our strategy for this because I might make a different decision. I really want to keep Yordan Alvarez because Yordan Alvarez, if you look at the StatCast expected statistics from last year, oh my absolute word, Yordan Alvarez was a beast. I mean, let's just check his expected stats. So this is my go-to resource. If you guys don't get anything from my channel, if you're a fantasy baseball player and you want to become better, use this website and you will get everything you need to succeed. Okay, this is Yordan Alvarez's stats, expected statistics. Expected batting average in the 85th percentile. Expected slugging in the 95th percentile. Max exit velocity, average exit velocity. Everything you want is good. Walk percentage is just about average. Ks are a little bit below average, but look at the contact. It's ridiculous. His expected slugging was 571. His expected batting average was 280, and that's in his 3rd year. Yordan Alvarez, if you are not high on Yordan Alvarez, get high on him. This guy is an absolute monster, and he's going to do big things this year for you and your team. And unfortunately, he's left off the list. And so the question is, do I prioritize him or Garrett Cole? Both of them are going to be 4-category dominant players. You assume Garrett Cole is going to get the wins, but then again, wins is such a fickle stat, you don't know. Also, the ERA can blow up at any time. So Garrett Cole is pretty much a lock for Ks and good whip, definitely. But you got to look at the strategy between hitters and pitchers. Pitchers get hurt more, so are you going to rely? But Garrett Cole, he's basically a first, high, 2nd round average draft pick, so I can't leave him out there. I mean, Garrett Cole, he'd be the first player taken if I left him for the draft. So I'm going to keep him. Wander Franco is another one. Do you keep him in this league that we have 4 keepers? Wander Franco is the ridiculous potential. So in this year, I'd probably take Yordan Alvarez over Wander Franco. But going forward, I mean, Wander Franco is the guy that I could have on this team for 10 years. And so that's my strategy right there, is to keep Wander Franco. He did not strike out last year. I mean, when he was on his hot streak, the man did not strike out. As you can see, only 2 strikeouts in these sample size of games. But the man does not strike out. I love players who don't strike out. They're very consistent. He's going to be a lock for a high batting average, a lot of runs, a lot of counting stats. I think he'll get a lot of stats like Bo Bichette did last year, and I think that's his ceiling, where he's just – and also he's very fast, but he didn't run, and he plays for the Rays. Rays don't steal that much, and so you wonder about the steal potential, but I'm honestly not too worried about steals. Wander Franco should be a 4-category stud. You don't know when the power's going to show up. You don't know if the power's going to show up this year, next year, 3 years down the road. But I'm willing to take that bet because that man is so freaking talented. There's also a chance I can get Yordan Alvarez back, either through trade if someone undervalues him, or just in the draft if they pass on him. He'll be right around that pick of 40. So I'm leaving quite a bit of players that are going to be drafted right away. Shane Bieber is going to be drafted quickly. Walker Buehler is going to be drafted right away. And so some teams are going to get some darn good players, but I'm keeping these guys. Kyle Tucker's StatCast stats were pretty much identical to Bryce Harper's. So if we go over here to StatCast, we look at Bryce Harper, and then you check his. That's the thing with those outfielders that I have. I mean, look at these numbers. So that's Yordan Alvarez right there. Bryce Harper, it's loading. Come on, come on, come on. Today. Come on. Okay, I guess it's not going to freaking load. There it is. So you look at Bryce Harper, I mean, 100th percentile on expected OBA, come on, 99, 97, 97, 91, 92, 99 walks, so he's on base all the time, he's scoring runs. Sprint speed still above average runners, so he's going to get you a handful of steals. K's a little bit better than Alvarez. Whip percentage, yikes. These are defensive stats. Chase rate, good. I mean, everything is just elite for Bryce Harper. This man is elite. He is so freaking good. His stats do not reflect how good this man is, and you just expect even more stats from him. He's 29 years old, right in his prime, so Bryce Harper's a lock to stay on the team, absolutely. And then you look at Kyle Tucker. Don't sleep on Kyle Tucker, because check him out. Kyle Tucker is comparable to those guys. Look at that. Boom. All hardcore red for everything. In fact, even defense, his chase rate is, everything is red on Kyle Tucker's screen. His expected slugging last year was 580, expected batting average 307. He's going to get you a handful of steals. This man is darn elite, and he's young. So absolutely hardcore locks on all four of these players. You can't go wrong with any one of them. Even if I didn't have Cole, I would still go Alvarez. That would give me 4 hitters and 0 pitchers in the first 4 rounds of the draft. That is okay with me. And so going into the season, I'm at an advantage. The only team that is going to be able to have that kind of firepower to start off his team, yeah, it's the guy I traded Ronald Acuna to. He's going to start with Ronald Acuna Jr., Mike Trout, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr., as well as, I thought he had 4 dominant players. No. I mean, I don't know if he's going to value Christian Yelich at that and keep him. I doubt it. But you never know with some people in this league. But he's got 3 guys. Even if he keeps only 3, he can still draft someone right off of my team. One of my pictures, like Walker Buehler. He can get Walker Buehler back. He's the only guy that can compare to my team. So that is bloody fantastic. We're going to move you down to the bottom right now because you're just getting in my way. Look at this team. So yeah, Wander Franco, I mean, I'm betting on potential. Come on, risk reward. You got to go all risk reward, especially in the early part of the draft. Actually the late part of the draft, but I'm going on potential for sure. But these are all pretty much locks. The only thing for this year's Wander Franco might not be a top 50 player this year, but going forward he definitely will probably be, and there's a very, very, very high chance he's a top 50 player with potential to be top 10, top 20 this year because he's just that talented. It's all about his power clicking and if he gets steals, but like I said, I'm going to hit on steals. I read an article, so my strategy going into this draft this year is going to be no steals. Okay, so I'm not going to go for no steals, but I'm not going to prioritize it at all. So I'm not going to factor steals into any of my decision making. The logic goes that there's so few steals available that steals, if you miss out on like Adalberto Mondesi, you pretty much are, there's not very many steal sources, and the people that do get you steals, Tommy Edman and the shortstop for the Royals, Nicky Lopez, those guys are not going to contribute. They'll give you a little decent batting average, but nothing really else. Maybe a couple runs. Nothing really more impressive, and it's just not valuable to have those guys. If someone does not have power, he does not probably have runs, power, and RBIs. That's 3 categories affected by home runs, as well as batting average. Every home run is a hit, technically. And so, but steals, if you don't have steals, you just don't have steals. You can still have all the rest of them. And so that's my logic going into this year. My logic is to finish middle of the pack in steals but dominate in all 4 of these. So steals, and I started making money in fantasy baseball when I started prioritizing steals. I didn't realize how valuable it was. But this year I'm flipping the script. I'm just going to try and go for middle of the pack. If I can find some on the waiver wire, if I find a breakout steal player that also does other stuff, then great, but I am not going to prioritize it in drafts. I'm not even going to factor it into my decision making into the draft this year. Also, I'm going to prioritize hitting over pitching. Now, last year I prioritized pitching. I drafted Shane Bieber, Jack Flaherty, and Luis Castillo in early rounds. This year, I am going to prioritize my hitting. So I already am starting with 3 hitters to 1 pitcher And so we'll see what I do with my first pitch, but I'm going best player available. So if it's a pitcher, it's a pitcher. If it's a hitter, it's a hitter. I will not be trying to balance it out with the pitcher right there. No, absolutely not. The fact is, pitching you can stream. Pitching is counting stats. Pitching is also volatile, and pitching is injury risk. Also, a starting pitcher can only get you 4 category production at the most, and wins is a volatile stat. So really, a great pitcher, you can only count on 3 things: ERA, WHIP, and Ks. You can't really count on wins and the injury bug, and obviously you can't get saves out of them. So hitters are going to be way more valued by me this year than in years past than pitchers. I usually go for pitching depth, but you can find a ton of sleeper pitchers in the late round of the draft. Hitters, you kind of know what you're getting mainly with your hitters, and so I'm definitely going to target hitters. All right. Let's just introduce you to the teams. This is Spencer. He was my co-partner in starting the league. He's been managing the league from the get-go. This is his ending team. He ended up in the playoffs. I beat him in the first round. And I think he finished 3rd in the league. All right, there's Spencer. His bread and butter, he loves Trey Turner. He's had Trey Turner for years. He always drafts him. I've always wanted Trey Turner, but he got Trey Turner right before I picked. Drafted 7th overall. I think I had the 8th or 9th pick. I was so mad when he got Turner, and Turner ended up as the number 1 player in fantasy baseball. So congratulations to him for doing that. That was a very smart pick. He also got screwed over by Cody Bellinger, though, last year. He was high on Cody Bellinger. He's always had Cody Bellinger. This year absolutely screwed him over. All right, Dylan. As you see, Dylan has been an interesting player over the years. Dylan does not prioritize stolen bases, and neither does he prioritize saves. So you don't let that fool you. He got him halfway through the year with a trade with me, actually, with the Garrett Cole trade. The Christian Yelich for Giancarlo Stanton trade, I think. One of the trades. I don't know. We trade all the time. But Dylan does not prioritize saves. I'm interested to see going into this year. He has never prioritized saves as long as he's been in this league, and it has screwed him over every single year. And I just don't understand why he doesn't do it. But we'll see what he does this year going for saves. He always goes heavy on starting pitching. Not good starting pitchers, just a lot of starting pitchers. And no saves, and then he always goes for power. He loves his power hitters, as you can see. He loves his power hitters, and so let's see if he balances out this year or he stays with the same. But Dylan always is on the outside looking in at the playoffs, it seems, and last year was no different. All right, my main competition every year would be this guy. This guy is Brady, and Brady is a freaking star, dude. Brady knows what he's doing. As soon as I dropped Tommy Edman, I just could not with Tommy Edman. I mean, his power and RBIs were so low. His runs, I guess, but it was all volume. As you can see, 641 at bats and the 30 stolen bases. It just wasn't worth it. I picked up Miles Straw and dropped Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman got hot as soon as that happened. But anyways, he picked up Starling Marte. This is my fantasy MVP last year. Starling Marte, you're a star. He gave me the runs. He gave me the stolen bases, led the league by a lot, and the batting average. That was a huge batting average boost. He was an absolute star for me, and I was very appreciative of him. Starling Marte is the man. I left him out to get drafted this year because he's old, and he's an injury risk. He's always hurt, and also this was his best year, so I wasn't going to prioritize Marte. This year, though, he's probably going to have a really good year for the Mets, so he's still a great player. This was his final team. Ended up with Kershaw. He picked up Kershaw off the waivers because someone dropped him while he was hurt. That was a pretty good pickup. He had a couple good starts in September. All right, Lucas Giolito. That was his first pick. Yeah, he was modest. He was okay. But his bread and butter, he loves Juan Soto, and why not? Juan Soto is the best pure hitter in the league, in my opinion. These numbers are down, but his StatCast stats, man, was the best hitter in the league last year. This man, Juan Soto, is absolutely a beast. I don't know how he lasted until 5th overall. I would have drafted him 1st overall, probably. Juan Soto is the man behind the plate. He's probably going to have huge numbers. I mean, he wouldn't surprise me if he bats 300 bats and hits 40 home runs, well over 100 runs, and RBIs. That is Juan Soto, and he's only like 22 years old. I freaking love that guy. That is Brady. He has been faithful to the league for a lot of years. And also Brandon. Brandon's also one of the originals. Brandon started off last year on fire, and I barely caught up to him at the end of the league, at the end of the season in standings. He picked up Corbin Burns. That was his best pick. I mean, what can I say? He also picked up Chris Sale at the right time. He also drafted Jacob deGrom, which looked like an amazing pick in the first round until he got hurt. But deGrom, come on, man. He also made this trade for Blake Snell halfway through the year. Blake Snell was bad for him, but then all of a sudden Blake Snell went ape shit. He went crazy. Look at these final numbers. I mean, strikeout numbers. He was dominant. So shout out to Brandon on sticking with Blake Snell. He also stuck with Paul Goldschmidt and got a fantastic end of the year. Goldschmidt ended the year just on a mission. So he made the trade for Adalberto Mondesi, which looked good for a couple seconds, but not really too much. Man cannot stay on the field. Also, the ever steady Ozzy Albies superstar fantasy player. Not so much a superstar in real life. He's a very good player in real life, but he's all fantasy. So that is Brandon. He's been in the league since the start, and those are my main competition is Dylan, Spencer, Brandon, and Brady. And then the rest of these guys, you know, they're up and comers. Some of these guys have been in the league for a good amount of time, but they just never really stay too active, nor do they make really good moves. Nathan Schmitz, I see potential in him, and that's about it. The rest of these guys kind of are just kind of fillers, let's be honest, and they enjoy other activities than fantasy baseball, but they enjoy baseball and they end up in the league. So those are the people that I kind of trade with, and it's a lot of fun. But I trade with everybody, but it's harder to trade with Brady than, you know, Dustin, if you know what I mean. So it's all good. It's all good. This is my juggernaut team. I mean, this team was a juggernaut. Throw Starling Marte in. You had an outfield in it. And, yeah, look at that outfield. So it's going to be really fun and challenging to build my team up again this year, and just to get it good. It always ends up super good, and then I have to restart every year, and I'm like, oh, but it's always super fun. It's good to get the balance back. You know, you don't want to dominate. It's not always fair, and so it's always a challenge. But the league is getting smarter. Everyone has gotten smarter. Everyone has gotten experience, and everyone's getting harder to trade with, and it happens every year. So I don't know when the draft is. Haven't activated the league yet. Spencer was talking about last year he might want to step down as commissioner. He's got a baby, so he's not really as engaged with fantasy, especially last year. He kind of wasn't as active as before. But I think he's going to get that itch like he does every year, like we all do every single year. These are the moves last year. So Brady was the only one that had more moves than me. Rare that I don't lead the league in moves. You had Brandon, Dylan, and then, yeah, Spencer was pretty low in the moves, so he wasn't as active last year. And then you got a couple guys who just don't really do anything all year. So, but these are my final finishes: second in runs, first in homers, third in RBIs, third in stolen bases, fourth in average, third in Ks, first in wins, third in saves, 8th in ERA, and 8th in WHIP. So overall, super, super balanced team. My ERA and WHIP really screwed me, but that made me so mad because I had the best pitchers, in my opinion, on paper the whole year. So, but the Ks and the wins at least make up for that. But, yeah, these are the final standings. I had the most wins, but Brady barely beat me at the end, 5-4-1. Boy, that was such a close matchup. Oh, it cost me like $100. Oh, well. Anywho, so I will give you guys an update with the draft. I will be talking draft strategy. I touched a bit on it today, but today's just my intro to the channel, to fantasy. We are going to have so much fun, not only this year, but going forward. I intend for this to be a lifelong hobby of mine, is documenting my fantasy baseball. This is going to be a ton of fun. Thanks for watching. Share it with your fantasy baseball friends. Let's get active on the channel. I'd love for you guys to interact with me, comment with me, and let's just have discussion about fantasy baseball, talk about trades, talk about draft strategy, talk about all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a great year. Hopefully the lockout ends, and it ends quickly because I have an itch that happens every February, and into March it only gets stronger until the season starts. I'm super excited. I love baseball. I love the changes we're making. We got the designated hitter coming to the National League, so that's going to give you more fantasy options as well. It's also going to keep your pitchers healthier, which is good because pitchers just go down left and right for the smallest of things. My word. Anywho, thank you again for watching. Let's have a great year. All right, see you next video. Deuces.